Our project for the complex network term project is on improving dialogue systems with pre-trained models. We are a team of 4 people all from PGDBA course, and my name is Kartikeya. So here is a brief outline. I'll be talking related to the introduction and problem description, whereas my teammates Rajat and Vineet will take you over through methodology and evaluations. So our work is mainly focused on whether dialogue systems can be improved with regards to context and natural language generation using pre-training. So dialogue systems find their applications in various domains, ranging from technical support or customer support to natural language learning tools and entertainment. And when we say pre-trained models, uh, it is one of the implementation under transfer learning methodology, where what has been learned in one setting is exploited to improve generalization in another setting. So we have used pre-trained model called HRED to improve our dialogue system through fine tuning, and we will also show you how further using the pre-trained model has improved our results. So this is one of the research related works that we have uh, read across. So Sordini et al. Have proposed a novel architecture called HRED. Notion was that in a query session, the query co-occurrence in the same session is a strong signal of query relatedness and can be straightforwardly used to produce suggestions. But the major challenge here was that there is a growth of diverse contexts and the vocabulary has always been increased. As a result, it induces sparsity and classical count-based methods like TF-IDF and count vectorizers all become unreliable. So coming to the motivation, generally to design a chatbot or dialogue system, we need extremely large amount of data to train a model because we need to capture the whole context what the dialogue speakers wanted to share. However, in practical scenarios, we are not present with huge amount of training data. In other words, large number of dialogues are not present to train the model well and give good results. So this is where our focus research on. We are trying to explore if we can improve these dialogue systems through fine tuning using a pre-trained model. And this is some words related to the dataset. The dataset we picked is called daily dialogue dataset. It contains conversations about daily life. This dataset is human written and is very less noisy, unlike general text that is found in social media like Twitter, Facebook, etc. With 8 turns on an average, this is also a multi-turn dataset, and it is suitably apt to train compact conversational models. And most of the dialogues in our dataset are focused on certain physical context. And a few words about the data pre-processing that we have done. So first is that the data in original form is in a raw text with EOU as a delimiter. Then we have converted it into CSV using Microsoft Access, and it can be seen uh, in this slide that the dataset subdivision shows lesser number of dialogues in the training as well as validation and testing as well. So to overcome that, we have tried to break the sentence into 3, 4, 5 to n grams, where n is the length of the dialogue.
Methodology and our contribution. So firstly, we'll be talking about the two evaluation metrics that we have considered. Perplexity. Perplexity is a measurement of how well a probability distribution or a probability model is able to predict a sample. A lower perplexity means that the probability distribution is able to predict a sample well. In probabilistic language models, word perplexity is a well-established metric for generative dialogue tasks. The reason why this is so is because word perplexity measures the model's ability to account for the syntactic nature of the dialogues as well as the syntactic nature of the utterances. The other metric that we've used is BLEU, Bilingual Evaluation Under Study Score, or BLEU for short, is a metric for evaluating a generated sentence to a reference sentence. A perfect match results in a score of 1, whereas a perfect mismatch results in a score of 0. BLEU looks at the overlap between generated sentence and target sentence in terms of n grams. So there are BLEU 1, 2, 3, 4 for unigram, bigram, trigram, or 4 grams respectively. There are different ways to calculate BLEU, one of which is corpus BLEU, which means you're judging the quality at a corpus level, and the other one is sentence BLEU, where you are judging the quality at an individual sentence level and then finally aggregating through an average for the whole corpus. Now, the workflow is as follows. We firstly train our vanilla or standard sequence to sequence RNN autoencoder, which is going to be used as the pre-trained model for HRED. We evaluate this model through perplexity and BLEU scores and ensure that the scores are in their appropriate ranges. We modify the original architecture by adding an LSTM context encoder to make it hierarchical recurrent encoder decoder. And lastly, we train the HRED model with pre-trained weights and compare it with a non-pre-trained HRED and see how the results are. So if we think about a general encoder decoder, what encoder is trying to do is it is trying to map the input space to a different latent space, and then the latent space is being mapped to a different target space through the decoder. But in our case, where we do not have to predict but are only restricted to learn learn a representation of the input, our input space and the target space are similar and our inputs and the targets are same, which is why we are saying this encoder decoder as an auto encoder. Here you can see that this is our input space which gets mapped to the latent space or the hidden state or the context vector, and then this gets mapped to the target space which is the same as our input space. The embeddings and the dimensions are kept same, as you can see here. So teacher forcing. Now it is very hard for decoder to generate a whole sentence, and so just like a teacher would help a student on and off in making him speak properly, teacher forcing allows us to feed the actual target tokens to the decoder in comparison to the ones that he or the decoder has guessed, and we do this 50% of the time, which is why we have kept a teacher forcing ratio of 0.5. The reason why this is important is because once the starting token has been predicted wrongly by the decoder, the tokens that are going to be predicted later are most likely going to be wrong, because it's a sequence model, and that the predictions not only depend on the last state but also on the previous states, and this is why teacher forcing is important. So a quick summary of the steps that we have taken for training the autoencoder. We pre-process the dataset. We convert this into a CSV file with each row having one utterance. We then tokenize these sentences. The concept of word embedding is that a neural network does not understand unstructured textual data, which is why it is important for us to convert it into a structured numerical data which a neural network can understand. There are different ways to do that, one of which is one hot encoding, but when the vocabulary size is very large, this approach becomes impractical, and so one could go for word embeddings. For example, word2vec, where you are trying to represent the corpus or the textual data in a smaller dimension numerically. These vectors, these utterance vectors, are then fed to the encoder, or the utterances are fed to the encoder to get context vectors, which are then fed to the decoder to get dialogue responses. The loss that we have considered is cross entropy, and finally we evaluate our model using perplexity and BLEU scores. So the difference between autoencoder and the HRED model is that the HRED model also accounts for the temporal structure of the utterances. So here we can see that the encoder RNN is encoding the tokens within an utterance, whereas the context RNN is encoding the temporal structure of the utterances. Here is one utterance and here is another utterance, and the decoder RNN is predicting one word at a time. The changes that we have made to the original autoencoder case is we have added an LSTM and we are also loading pre-trained weights here. To summarize our steps towards the HRED approach is we are encoding all utterance to get utterance vectors through the encoder RNN. These utterance vectors are then fed to the context encoder to get a single context vector, and then this context vector is finally fed to the decoder to get the dialog responses. This is the architecture of our HRED model. Here you can see that the dimensions of hidden state dimensions of encoder, context encoder, and decoder is kept same, which means that we are keeping a fixed size of the latent space that we talked about before, which is also necessary. It's a constant that is there. Now we'll be talking about our results, and over to you, over to Vineet.
Thanks, Rajat, for wonderful description about our methodology. In this section, let's talk about results. So here we see the result from the plain vanilla RNN model that we have trained during our midterm part. The training, the input is, consider this example mainly because we have invested in a heat recovery system, and our model is predicting because we lived in a few odd systems. Clearly this is uttering nonsense, and it neither have any relevance nor any context. Now let's take a look at our HRED model, but without pre-trained weights. So the training and perplexity scores, as clear here, are both decreasing, and these are the results from our fine-tuned HRED model but with pre-trained weights. Our training loss and perplexity score both are decreasing. However, validation loss and validation perplexity is increasing. If we compare the pre-trained weight model with non-pre-trained one, we would see that the non-pre-trained HRED model has lower validation and testing perplexity. However, this is not much significant. What matters more is the quality of the output. So let's take a look at the output of our model. Suppose the input is we have managed to reduce our energy consumption in our trajectory by about 15% in the last 2 years. That's excellent. How you have managed that? The predicted response with non-pre-trained model is I dressed IMB pleased to gamble the regulation within September, and after that lots of bureau. So it is clear that the non-pre-trained HRED model has learned and giving output of repetitive as well as generic responses. Now let's take a look at the pre-trained HRED model. The input is, excuse me sir, I'm afraid I can't park your car here. Why not? It's my parking space. The output is, perhaps I can't. On that I could on my book. It is clear that predicted response is somewhat capturing the context and is showing a good example of natural language generation. Let's take a second example. Here the input is, believe it or not, tea is most popular beverage in the world after water. Well, people from Asia to Europe enjoy tea, right? And China is homeland of tea. Our model is predicting the hard need more, the traditional of China is more expensive. With pre-trained HRED, the model is able to capture the context of tradition as well as China. Here we can see the pre-trained HRED model has a blue score of 0.22, which is more compared to non-pre-trained model. Here we have the summary statistics, what we have already discussed in previous sections. Now the key takeaways, the non-pre-trained HRED model produces repetitive as well as generic responses. However, after pre-training, the problem of natural language generation goes away, but context relevance still remains an issue. Practically what this means is, if we are talking to a chatbot, then it is replying non-generic meaningful sentences, however they have no relevance. Some of the future directions, we can use bidirectional RNNs to overcome the problem with long utterances, and use pre-trained sentence embeddings like BERT with transformer, which are purely attention based, neglecting the RNN altogether. These are some of the references that we have used in our study. The code associated with the experiment and report and this presentation is available at this link. Finally, we would like to thank Vishal sir for helping us on our project, and Vivas Mitra sir for allowing us to choose such an important and interesting topic for our complex network project. Thank you very much for listening.